The Quiet King. Why walking alone is a sign of power, not weakness. Once, there was a man named Elias who lived in a bustling city filled with noise, parties, and endless chatter. To the outside world, Elias was a mystery. He rarely showed up to the Friday night gatherings. He ate his lunch in the park with a book rather than in the crowded cafeteria, and his phone rarely buzzed with group chat notifications. People whispered, "Is he lonely? Is he broken? Why doesn't he have a squad like everyone else?" But they were looking at Elias through the wrong lens. They saw his solitude as a cage, but Elias knew it was a castle. Here's the true story of why Elias walked alone and why it made him stronger than anyone knew.
Elias was dragged to a high society gala. The room was full of laughter, but Elias felt a cold chill. He watched two colleagues complimenting each other's shoes, only to roll their eyes the moment they turned their backs. You see, Elias had a rare gift, a zero tolerance for fake. While others were comfortable swimming in a sea of polite lies and social masks, Elias felt like he was drowning. His brain was wired to detect inauthenticity instantly. He didn't leave early because he was antisocial. He left because he valued truth too much to participate in a play where everyone was acting. He realized that protecting his peace was more important than pretending to enjoy the performance.
Elias tried to date. He sat across from people in coffee shops who talked for hours about the weather, celebrity gossip, and what they bought on sale. Elias would nod, but his mind was starving. He didn't want to know, "How are you?" in the polite sense. He wanted to know what kept them up at night, what their childhood dreams were, and what they thought about the universe. Elias realized he possessed the trait of depth over quantity. To him, small talk was like eating air. It filled space but gave no nourishment. He decided he would rather sit in silence than speak words that meant nothing. He wasn't empty, he was just waiting for a conversation heavy enough to anchor him.
After a day of meetings, his coworkers would head to a bar to unwind. Elias would head home to his quiet apartment, dim the lights, and just sit. His coworkers thought he was boring. In reality, Elias had high social sensitivity. While extroverts gained energy from the crowd, Elias spent energy. Every conversation, every noise, every emotional cue was data his brain processed deeply. By 5 p.m., his battery was at 0%. His solitude wasn't an escape from people, it was a recovery chamber. He knew that to be his best self tomorrow, he needed to be by himself tonight.
On weekends, while his peers waited for texts to tell them where the fun was, Elias was already having it. He built furniture, he learned philosophy, he hiked trails no one else knew. Elias had low social dependency. He didn't need a clinking glass or a like on a photo to validate his existence. He had built an entire world inside his head and his home that was rich and fulfilling. He realized that while others were begging for invitations to parties, he was hosting a banquet of ideas in his own mind. He didn't need an audience to feel like the main character.
Years ago, Elias had trusted too easily. He had opened his gates to everyone, and he had been robbed, not of money, but of emotional energy and trust. That betrayal didn't make him bitter, it made him wise. He developed a high trust threshold. Now, friendship with Elias was not a right, it was an earned privilege. He observed, he tested, and he waited. The few people who made it into his inner circle weren't just friends, they were family, vetted and cherished.
Elias wasn't broken. He was a masterpiece of selective design. He taught us that having a small circle isn't a lack of popularity, it's a sign of high standards. So, if you see an Elias in your life, or if you are the Elias, remember this. The lion does not walk alone because